Hey everyone. If you're watching this video and you saw the title, then you can probably guess what I'm about to say. I'm gonna be leaving RGL after well, now basically. The final bit of season 3 is finished, and I think we're just at a good transitionary point. Um, the next season will, be started next year, and from that point forward, Mundane is going to be taking over for me as head administrator of RGL. If you're wondering why this video is so long, then it's because I have a lot I want to talk about in terms of just the TF2 community and where it's going, what we're doing, and what you personally can do to help this community, because it needs help. It does. After the whole TF2 is on hold news and everything, just morale is really low, and that's just how it is with TF2 and how it has repeatedly been with an increasing amount over the past decade. But that aside, let's get into the meat of it. So yeah, I'm leaving RGL, and Mundane is taking over. I'm not when it comes to details for season 4, you're gonna want to have to direct all your questions to him, and that includes like badges, the next season date, all those rule changes. They're all going to be in his hands. If he decides he wants to unban the Razorback, the Razorback will be unbanned, or whatever, because it's like out of my control at this point, and that's fine. I can give you some guesses though for what I think will change or be the case. First of all, the badges. They're probably, as always, going to have to wait until at least an update comes out. I'm going to have Mundane talk with the North Americans and have them sort out those badges, make sure they get ready, and hopefully we can get them all sorted out by the next update, by the Smithmas update. But, as always, these badges are so weird. Valve is hard to communicate with in terms of badges, and it's not helping that we have to go through this extra layer of talking to North American RGL members, and then have them talk to Valve, and then have Valve communicate to the North American members that they can communicate to us, that we can start to send out the badges. Like, it's so many steps, and it's more steps than other leagues have, because we aren't actually an Australian league. We're an Australian part of a league that is primarily North American. So that's why it always takes longer for us. And it's not going to help that we're doing a head admin transition as well, but you'll get them. You'll get them. Anyway, if we move on to the next season, I would, as I said, I have no guarantee. Monday could start it next week if he wanted to, but he probably won't. I would feel that he would wait at least until maybe late January, just because we don't like to host leagues during the Christmas season, and for all the other holidays and New Year's and everything. It just doesn't make sense, because we want to spend time with our families. We don't want to be messing around with like admin shit, and I'm sure you don't want to be like organizing match dates or whatever when you're supposed to be spending time with your family or catching up on Netflix or whatever it is you do on the holidays. So that's why late January, that'll probably be it. And as for rule changes and stuff, I wouldn't really expect most of the rules to change. I hand wrote the entire rules list on the website that we currently have, and there's a lot of it's very similar to the North American rules, but I still typed it out individually just so that I don't know. I did that because I wanted to make sure that I knew exactly what our rules were, and it's easier for me to write the rules and copy them down by hand typing them than to actually read it with a fine-tooth comb and really absorb the information. I don't know. It's just how I work, and as a result, I had a much better understanding of exactly what was required of certain situations this season. And heck, I mean, even though I'm about to leave admin, I feel like I've gotten a lot better at just the position of being an administrator, sorting out issues and all that. And sure, part of that is because our seasons have gotten a little bit smaller as people decided Prolander wasn't for them, or if they just decided I wasn't an admin they were happy with or whatever. That's fine. I was fine with it. I would much rather be an administrator for a smaller league that is easier to control than a big league that I have no idea what to control. Because this is something I very much inherited. I wasn't ready for it when I became head admin at all. So, yeah. And honestly, I don't even like the idea of being head admin. I'm not head admin. I am of an identical administrative power to Gluglug and Mundane. It's just they tend to leave a lot of decision making up to me. So the only real way to get them to step up is to have me not be able to anymore. If that makes sense. Anyway, Um, at least that's the most immediate way, and I am unable to keep doing this, which I'll talk more about later. I'm not going to necessarily like leave completely right away. What I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of take a step back into more of like an advisor role. So basically what that means is I'll still be in the RGL Discord and I'll still have access to the staff chats and everything, but I'm going to not be talking as much or solving issues ever. All I'm going to be there for is to be able to provide context and sort of like wisdom and advice to the administrators when they do stuff, but I'm not actually going to execute anything. That'll be all up to them because they need to be able to master that. And whether or not it's like, I've heard some people say that RGL isn't really going to stick around after I go, and whether that's true, I can't say. Because I know for a fact that Mundane and Glug Glug and all them, you know, pretty much most of the staff at this point, I know that they're capable. I definitely know that they have the ability and the skill to run this league. What's questionable is whether or not they'll have the actual like motivation and passion to run it. And that's what we're going to talk about for most of this video. We're going to talk about passion for creation, passion for running stuff, and why it's important that you understand how it works so that you can help. Because for a long time, a lot of people have thought of RGL and most competitive leagues as like a customer to producer kind of relationship, right? You think of it like, I am a person who's making this for you to consume as a product, because that's just how it feels, right? It's like I make it and I run it and you will consume it and then give me feedback, right? But that's not the relationship that goes on between us. That's not the relationship that goes on with Quixelite or OzFortress or Respawn or any of those. And the reason why is because we don't get paid money. You aren't giving us any money, and I'm not saying you should. I'm just saying that because there's no economic value in this relationship, then it's much more teamwork based than you might think, right? We're working at this together. If I make it, I can't play it because I'm too busy running it, right? But when you play it, then that means you have more ability to give constructive criticism to us. Constructive criticism. I emphasize that because a lot of the criticism that we've received and other leagues have received is not constructive at all. It's negative and it's demotivating, and that's the other part you play as a player in our leagues, is a motivator, really. Like, it didn't happen often, but whenever someone would message me or just come to tell me that they really liked RGL and they liked the effort I was putting into it and they appreciated it, God, man, that made my day. And you know what it cost them to tell me that? Nothing. It cost them 5 seconds of going to my DMs and saying, hey, I like your stuff. That's all it took. And it made it, like, that alone would give me, like, another week's worth of motivation to keep doing stuff for RGL, you know? And that you can do with anyone. Any person who makes anything you like. If you just tell them that you appreciate it, it will make it a lot easier for them to keep making, because they will appreciate it. Even if they don't respond, then you can know that they'll appreciate it. It doesn't happen a lot. There was someone who joined Theater Techie's Discord at one point and just thanked him for making Vigil, which is, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinions, one of the best payload maps ever, especially for competitive. And I went out of my way to just say, dude, you rock. We need more people like you in this world who will just go out of their way to make sure that someone who makes something you love will be thanked. And I'm not just saying this for for me, right? Like, this is my opinion and everything, but I don't need this anymore. I'm leaving RGL. The reason I'm telling you this is because I want you to show this, show love and appreciation to like Mundane and the other RGL admins, and also just people who make other things in TF2 that you appreciate. Because when you show that to them, that's teamwork right there. You know? You're giving us the motivation, and we're giving you the leagues. And then we can work together to actually make TF2 a thing that we can keep playing regularly. And that's really important, because TF2 is not in a good spot right now. Like, morale is really low because of the whole TF2 is on hold news and everything. Like, Valve is not in this with us. At least it doesn't feel like they are, ever. So all we have is each other, and we can't let that go to waste. And if you really want me to emphasize, like, why this is important to me, let me share you some of the stories that have happened this year with RGL. That I might even not be making this video right now if it wasn't for this. But this year, 2019, had some of the highest and some of the absolute lowest experiences of my entire life. And that includes all of ATAR. Like, you students who have gone through the ATAR system and hated it and are glad it's over, or are about to go into ATAR and are really nervous, well, that's nothing compared to what I've gone through. There was a, oh my god. So this year we had someone join the moderator team who was a really cool and charismatic person who was fun to be around. And then, like, over time, people start, like, sending me messages and shit saying that, like, they're doing terrible things and they're like behaving inappropriately around certain members of the community. And I want to be defensive of him because I've talked with him and he seems alright, but at the same time there's a lot of screenshots, and then people start bringing in the ideas of, like, fake screenshots, and every time I make a decision on this, I freaking every single time I make a decision regarding this situation, I'd wake up with 9 more DMs from people furious and angry that I didn't do what they were expecting. And these are mostly from people who don't know the context of the situation because they haven't fully understood it. And this just kept going on and on for like 2 weeks or longer. I don't even remember. It's all a blur for me at this point. In the end, I actually had to just message Theater Techie, who was still an admin at that point, and say, you gotta take over. I literally can't do this anymore. And I was so defeated at this point that I uninstalled Discord from my phone. I unplugged my computer and monitor and put them both in my garage, and I just lived for about 2 weeks without any computers or access to Discord or anything. I actually pulled out my Xbox 360 and just played old games on that for a while and just didn't communicate at all. Of course, this was after I talked to Theater Techie and told him to, well, asked him to take over for me, which he did, which I really appreciated. But yeah, that was one of the lowest points of my life during that, because it felt like everyone who spoke about it had a different opinion, and everyone was so certain that they were correct that, despite the fact that there was stuff they hadn't seen, that it just led to a lot of high emotions. But I mean, there were things that were even worse than that. Like that was bad, but at least people were acting somewhat with good intentions, you know? Even if it was inappropriate or an overreaction or whatever you want to label it as. There was a time when 2 teams had a match ready, but both of them were being uncommunicative, and they couldn't properly schedule the match. And so as a result, I was like, all right, I have to delay this match, and if it doesn't work, then you're both going to forfeit. And one of the teams that had put slightly more effort into actually organizing the match was very upset that I decided to delay it. And a few days later, I get messaged and linked to a Steam group that a large number of people I would consider to be my friends have joined, saying, "Get well, Drapperbat 2019." And it's basically talking about how apparently I have brain damage because my decision to delay the match a week was so idiotic that that's the only possible conclusion that could have been drawn. And these weren't even random people who were in the league. These were people that I had hung out with in Discord chats and just enjoyed the company of and genuinely considered to be good friends of mine. And they were just spreading shit like this, some sort of primary school bully or something. And do you know how I found out about this? I found out about this because they did this a day after a mass shooting in New Zealand, and people who didn't know exactly where I lived messaged me asking if I was okay because they thought I was shot. Because the Steam group was very contextless. So yeah, this year had some low points. It wasn't great. And this is why I really want to emphasize this notion of teamwork and pushing people to giving them constructive and positive feedback as much as you can, because stuff like this, like RGL is not a crucial resource to TF2, but could you imagine if shit like this happened to Quixelite? Like, Quixelite is huge. Every league has taken advantage of Quixelite at some point or another, and if they went, we would be in serious trouble as a community. Like, that's why this is so important, guys. That's why I have to say this before I go. Anyway, there were high points of this year. I don't want to be entirely negative. Like, working RGL has been fascinating to me as just like a project. I've gotten to talk with people in the TF2 community about potentially getting a sponsorship deal for like prize pools, and that actually worked for the OTR league. Not the OTR, the One Day Cup League. And I got to talk with Sigafu and a whole bunch of others, really like big parts of TF2, about just competitive rule sets and stuff, and competitive theory, TF2 theory. And I got to talk with artists about getting art up for our website. Well, specifically one artist, Minty, who rules, by the way. If you ever need SFM artwork done, highly recommend her, because she's very talented and very dedicated to her work. Like, I got to just manage staff teams and stuff. I got to like interview people for staff, and like, regardless of how well I did at any of those things, god damn, it was cool to at least try it, you know? A lot of people that are my age don't get to try that this early in life, so I feel really lucky that I got that opportunity. Casting! Oh my god, casting. So I haven't done any this season, but when I did do casting, holy shit, it was honestly the reason I'm still even with RGL right now, because casting is without a doubt my favorite part of all of RGL. And if you ever wondered, like, why is Drapperbat always cast? Why doesn't he give it to people who are more experienced? Because casting, as I said, is the only reason I'm doing this, because it's awesome. It's fun. It's super fun for me. And a lot of you pointed this out. A lot of you are like, yeah, well, not pointed it out, but pointed out that A, they like how much I hype shit up in the cast compared to other people, but also that I tend to be a little bit more of a storyteller when it comes to casting, rather than like a full-on analysis of what is going on, which is fine. I do prefer the storytelling method of casting. I like to make a show. That's my real goal. Like, the league is one thing, but ultimately, I just like to put on a show for people, you know? I like to be loud. I like to be like, oh my god, the medic dropped Goober, no way! It happened! I like to do that, and I like to get you excited, and just being able to give you some of that energy that I get when I see those plays in TF2 is just so good. I love that stuff. I love it, and I'm so happy that I got the chance to do it, and I'm so happy that you tuned in to see it with me. It was amazing. So yeah, that's me for RGL. Those are my hindsight experiences, and that's the wisdom I've taken. There are a lot of people that could use a boost from you as a consumer of TF2 content and as an enjoyer of its game, because without Valve, we're all we have. And I feel like a broken record saying it over and over again, but it doesn't take much. And constructive criticism is fine, but positivity goes a long way. And I have you know, the reason I haven't done any casting for RGL this season is because I found other passions. I've gotten really into Grand Theft Auto role-playing servers, which I know sounds funny, but the communities that I found are so warm and inviting and positive. Like, I'll show you a clip or two right now of some of the shit that people have talked with me about and said to me, that just really, really motivated me. And really made me stick around that community and made me want to stick around RGL less, I'll be honest.
Like, Drapper though, dude, it was hands down so fucking good, dude. Probably the best RP experiences ever. The fact he dropped Bill, I was like, man, the fact he gave the opportunity to Bill to like work that shit out and like think of like previous experience and stuff was so good, dude. It was so fantastic. So thank you. Thank you so much for that. Because it was, oh my god, just wow. Yeah, it was just Draper, man. A lot, so pretty much everyone in the chat, everything has just been like, "Fuck, he did a good job." So I hope you know that, and yeah,
like
man,
him,
it's
but I really don't want to. I don't want to have anything to.
Can often do a lot of good for the channel, and then you can't really demand too much from them. They have like volunteers, really.
You two make me want to be a better person. Seriously,
I mean, it's all like
it's
these
good.
are all
It's a good thing.
these are all like lessons I've learned this year. Is the thing like
Well,
I don't
then
know.
these are lessons
2019
I'm
has
just
been nuts.
learning this year. Thanks to you guys sharing these lessons you guys have learned. Appreciate that.
School of Hard Knocks.
It's a hard knock life for us. Oh, now I have to play that song.
So yeah, that's some of the shit I've heard doing Grand Theft Auto roleplay, and just like RGL, I don't get paid at all to do Grand Theft Auto roleplay, and it is a little bit of work. Like, I have to think about my characters, I have to put time into actually creating them, I have to put time to like actually talk with the other role players out of character and just make sure everything's okay. Like, it's fun, but it's work. It's exactly like RGL in my opinion, just with a little bit less, you know, drama potential. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about monetization. I have always been really stingy with money. I don't like asking people to pay me. I've never wanted to set up a Patreon for RGL or anything like that. Just because, I don't know, well, I've only realized recently towards the end of this year that the reason for that is because I've never felt like I was worth money before to people, but I've only recently learned that if you put up these voluntary payment options for people, then people who pay you have already like decided on the fact that they're okay to part with some money to to tell you that they appreciate what they do. Like, they're okay with that, and you don't have to feel bad about that. So I'm not asking you to give me money. I'm not doing RGL anymore. What I'm asking of you is to maybe, if you can afford it, because I know a lot of you can't, but if you can afford it, then maybe just like throw a few dollars towards the people who make stuff you love. Here's some suggestions. What about Sigafu for making RGL as a whole? This league that is so interesting and new and fascinating. What about, like, he could use some. Here's another idea. Theater Techie. He not only ran RGL and did an excellent job while he was around, but he made one of the coolest payload maps I've ever seen in my life. And like, that alone is awesome, you know? And he's still making cool stuff for TF2, which is just nuts. That he has that much passion. Go ahead and show him that you like what he's doing. Here's a great one. Quixelite. Quixelite is unbelievable. The fact that anyone with a Discord account can book an entire server to do whatever they want with, whether it's running one of their scheduled competitive games, or if they want to run their own league or some shit, or if they want to run their own pugs. Like, anyone can do that with Quixelite, which is so amazing. Like, anyone can rent out a server, or not even rent, anyone can borrow a server for free and use it for whatever they want for the whole night. It's an unbelievable resource. So I think that, and like, Quixelite has to pay to keep those servers up. Like, money comes out of their pocket for that. So definitely show your support to them. Respawn League is incredible. Like, for such a new league, the way it's been run makes me like so jealous. I'm like, man, these people are so good at what they do that like, I wish I was that good at running RGL, you know. Oz Fortress is seriously a trooper. Like, heck, they've been around for so long, and they've been keeping the Sixes community alive for such an insane amount of time. And I believe, didn't they say they needed help with paying for their Warzone website recently, or was that like a year ago? I don't know. Whatever it is, they deserve a little bit of cash. So it's the season of giving, guys. Maybe just like aside from your like family and all that, just throw a little appreciation towards the people in this community that you've been around and love so much. just show them that you care, and it doesn't even have to be that expensive. Like $1 alone is more than they're asking for, but it's a lot less than they deserve. So yeah, I'm glad I could at least to a degree end this video with a positive note. But yeah, I like that. That's all the stuff I wanted to get off my chest. There's a lot that I've learned about the TF2 community and RGL and running communities and the importance of positivity that I think is essential, and I didn't want to just let it go to waste by not mentioning it. So this is all the stuff I'm leaving you with. Take care. Thank you to everyone, and I do mean everyone, who participated in the league, who will continue to participate in the league, who takes my advice that I've given you today to heart, to the people who do nice things for people without like being asked, to the people who tuned in to the casted matches, to anyone who ever gave me positive feedback or constructive criticism to make RGL a better place. And definitely to all the staff members, past and present, of RGL. Oh, can I name them all? Thank you to Mundane. Thank you to Theater Techie. Thank you to Glug Glug. Oh, the Off the Rails League was awesome. I'm so happy that you ran that. Thank you to Centaur. Thank you to thank you to Gia. Thank you to Ghost. Thank you to oh, I'm trying to remember them all. Thank you to I'm looking it up. I'm cheating. Thank you to Cassini. Oh my gosh, Cassini, for running this all. Thank you to Smay and Levia and Para and Rias, Ginger Karma, and Trips, all of you. And if I missed anyone, I'm so sorry, but thank you so much for helping me run this. Even if you put a small amount of effort, that's more effort than what was, you know, like what you were obligated to do, which was none. It's all a volunteer position, and you volunteering is so appreciated. So, yeah. Anyways, take care, everyone. Have a really, really good Christmas this year. Enjoy your New Year's. Do something nice for someone today. And take care.